Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Well, hello, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox, here on the show this evening is my mucker Southside, who are Robert, Kim, and the Bridge. Evening, boys. Evening, Southside.
Evening, Ox. Good to be on with the troops tonight.
Yeah, good to hear from you, big man. Evening, Robert.
Evening, mate. Looking forward to the show.
Evening, James.
Evening, lads. Evening, Ox. Good to get on here with the boys. Good crowd tonight.
Great.
Unfortunate circumstances.
I'm glad your calendar's working, mate. Proud of you.
All right.
Evening, Bridge.
Oh, good evening to yourself, folks, there, and to all the other guys. And I'm going to have to say this, To all the Rangers fans listening in all over the world, good evening. I'm a happier person. Good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, who wants to go first? Southside. Listen, mixed emotions, mate, because obviously the fact that the manager's sacked means that we're not doing well. But that gives me mixed emotions. Am I glad it happened? I think so. Well, I know so. Should it happen quicker? Possibly. Yeah, it's happened now. We have to move on. But wrong guy, wrong fit. And just a bad appointment, if we're honest, Southside.
Well, I think a lot of people were sceptical at the start when they got the job, and then obviously after the first game against Motherwell, we came away with a point that day, and he talked about Eagles and players and stuff, and then obviously you look at falls out with Rask and whatever that situation developed and all that it entailed to it got to the point where it got to. Performances haven't been good. He said to swap the team a bit. He actually went away for sort of his style, as he talked about, and he mixed it up and went long ball a few times and stuff and played players in different positions that you thought was a bit out of character as well. And just results haven't transpired, but performances haven't been good either. And obviously, they probably could have pulled the plug after the Hearts game, but they chose not to. But they pulled the plug yesterday after that performance that we witnessed there and all. So it was coming, as we all knew. It was just a matter of time. And it was up to Kavanagh, because he's the guy, the main man at the helm, to say enough's enough and tell Thelwell and Stewart to pull the plug. So obviously, Falkirk game didn't help. And I think it would probably happen regardless. I think it would have probably it was. We got outworked and outran by a Falkirk team yesterday, and that is on the players that went onto that park, because they're the ones that didn't run and try as hard as Falkirk did on that park. That's what annoys me. As much as he sets out tactics or whatever, but when you're standing there in that stadium watching the Falkirk players outmuscle our players, shrug them off the ball and run and work harder, then that's poor in my eyes, and that's on every one of the players that took on to Barrow on that park yesterday.
Aye, players always get away scot-free. It's a unique industry, as we said. If you had a team of wallpaper hangers and they were hanging the wallpaper upside down, they'd get the bag. But in football, it's the manager that gets the bag. It's unique, but it's the way it is, and it's the game we're in. Robert, your thoughts, mate?
Obviously, mate, it's been writing on the wall for a while. We've sat here for a number of weeks, not saying if, it's more of a case of when. Results haven't been good enough, performances haven't been good enough, and it just couldn't go on anymore. And finally, we've reached the conclusion that we all knew was coming. As you said, could it have happened earlier, and should it have? In my opinion, possibly. There was games where you looked at it the previous international break. You could say it's still early days, but what we saw on the pitch, mate, wasn't good enough to the expectation and standards. So it's been done. I just hope now that the owners and those up the stairs in the club can learn from this and not make that same mistake again. And this kind of proves a point that they need to get it right. The standard and expectations of us as supporters is far greater than I think they looked at when they made that appointment. There's obviously still question marks about those involved and still above.
Yes.
But that's another story itself, mate. But you've now kind of got to trust these guys as much as we're calling for their heads to go and make the right decision and not make this mistake again.
Well, I'll come to that, mate. When you read the letter, mate, you for the men that pay the money, mate, they maybe see it differently. Jim.
Donald, sick of it. Again, I agree with excuse me, 100% agree with what Southside there says. These players are getting away with it yet again. And I think Martin alluded to it with his comments after the game about senior players. Am I right? Was that the right words that he used? No pulling their weight. And it's just not acceptable for some of them. Not acceptable.
The goal we lost in the effort and the football. I mean, no, obviously it was that day for great football, Jim. Wind is you can get an exciting game, but you maybe don't get quality. And on through that pitch with a bit of drizzle on that and tappy, it becomes no farcical, but it's no set up for great football. But you've got to play common sense football. And right for the first whistle, mate, we didn't.
100%. As I'm saying, played up there with a fit team many a time. That's where one of the teams in the league use, and it's so opened. I mean, Southside probably seen it yourself up there how blustery it was and all the rest of it. It's no thing made to great football. I don't think it's one of the worst football pitches I've seen with one of the Astro pitches, but the performance for Rangers yesterday, man, is just totally unbelievable. And I think it get kind of picked on at half time when you seen Raskin and Miofsky coming out, man, and the two of them having a wee conflict and just shaking their heads, man. What's going on in there? What is actually going on in that dressing room?
I think, if we're obvious, mate, if we're really honest as well, I think the dressing room's been lost to the management team for a while. I think that's maybe became apparent, but all came out in the wash, mate. But look, there's not a lot of people there who've been there a long time now. I mean, you take Tavernier at the team, and then who's your next longest serving player? Raskin, the Beale signed not even 3 years ago. So, it's a whole different squad. So you've got to look at the recruitment. Anyway, I know somebody's going to be in a better mood. Mr. Bridge, give us your thoughts.
I think I agree with the guys up to now, without a doubt. But I've got one thing, I'll say it non-stop, I'll say it. That all the clubs, the club at the top, the three above the manager should also be, shall I say, highlighted. And if any of them go, it wouldn't cause us a problem at all, because their decisions have been shocking as well. They've allowed it to happen, and it's no right. However, it's a way out of our early area of control. I think that when we talk about Rangers football team, and we're talking on the pitch, and that I see, and everybody sees those players, we've all said it, they don't understand the teams we're playing against in the league we're in, and where our position in that league has been historically. They should know that teams are going to come out and kick lumps out as if they can, to get the ball in the net. That's all they do. It's all they do. Get something against Rangers. So they're away happy with a draw. And you were right. They knocked us off our play. They did everything. They bullied us everywhere. And some of the tackles were, shall we say, right in front of the referee, and we never get in for it. And a couple of them could have been easily booked, no problem. However,
I get that, Bridge, but let's be honest, mate, we were stinking.
Exactly what I'm saying. We were rotten all the way through, from start to finish. Just terrible.
We're stinking, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, it flattered us at 1-0. Yeah, we got a goal chopped off. And I didn't notice the offside, as I said yesterday, at the halfway line. It was marginal, but it was given, and then they showed the line. So it's done. It's finished. And we get the goal, and we've not even get anybody on our bench to bring on to help us make us solid and see the game out Southside. Yeah. We bring on 3 midfielders, and they're not bringing anything to try and see the game out. Diamande, Southside, he's been stinking all season, hasn't he? And obviously got a knock yesterday, and would have been off at park if we had more subs.
He wasn't very good when he came on at all, and he get rolled for the goal. Aye. And obviously I didn't realise at the time when the boy shot it took a deflection, because at the time I was thinking, Butland, what you doing? You know, that's just went by you there and you've no moved. But later on, obviously, I see that it took a deflection. It was a good, decent enough strike, but it was just the way he's Diamondi at the road. Well, as Brad said, when you're standing there watching, we're second best in tackles, and our players are getting pushed off the ball easily, getting moved off the ball, and they're just taking it off us. And some of the when even our centre backs had the ball yesterday, when you were standing behind the goal, you're looking ahead to see who. So they shot Barron down, and you're looking at Rothwell and Raskin, and they're miles up the park. And you're thinking, well, obviously, Giga or Suter now can't pass the ball into the midfield because you are miles up the park. You can go sideways. Game goes into Cornelius, then he has to play it back to Suter, then who's getting pressed again, who goes back to our goalkeeper. Because our midfield weren't coming and showing for the ball yesterday at all. They were miles up the park. And just the lack of effort, I thought, was terrible. And as much as Raskin stood there weeks and had his name sang by the support, and probably on for him, he's probably one of our best midfielders. But apart from the Hibs game, he's done nothing. And he gave the ball away yesterday when he got a pass played into him, and I don't know, it came off his shin or something like that, and then it gave them a chance to get a shot off and goal.
Huh?
And then he starts moaning at Tav. And the two of them had a ding-dong yesterday. And you're like, well, it's your fault, because you asked for the ball, you got it, you lost it. And they get a chance on your goal, and then you'll get cheek to turn around and moan at other players. So he's been off it and all. And that's the thing that just does my head in, that we're enough points behind, and we've got a team where they like the manager or no, and they all probably knew one more result would get them out the door, or they all knew the writing was on the cards. It's when you look out, you watch that team collectively yesterday, and we're lacking in all areas of the park against a Falkirk team who just showed more heart and desire and get stuck in about us, and we didn't match that.
No.
And now we've dropped another 2 points, because they didn't put the effort in to even try and get the win. Plus, we only had 2 shots in target, didn't we? So,
aye, we never had ours. Well, apart from the shot for Dimitri, after we scored the goal, that was it. And they scored the goal, but 70 odd minutes, mate. And after that, we were meant to be pushing to try and get a winner. We didn't have an effort in goal, mate. It's just
we had one close shots. Bizrami linked up with Ant-Man, and he fired that across the 6-yard box, and I think it was actually Cornelius that tried to get in and get his foot to it, and he cleared it in the 6-yard box. But that was the only thing near the end that we really done. Do you know what I mean?
Nothing, mate. Nothing. No ideas. No. The midfield is, we've said a lot. No creativity, no ball winners, no strength, no physicality, no pace. You know, but we've got a lot of issues, mate, that they're going to sort out. So I'm just wanting a simple yes or no answer for everybody. I put the ex-manager. Are we happy he's gone? Jim?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Bridgeman?
Yes, indeed. 3 cheers.
Southside?
Full house.
Full house. All right, throw me in, mate. Make it a double full house, yeah? Just a bad fit. I'm going to read the letter for the owners, if you like, for the want of a better word, because they are the owners, and then we'll get the phone lines open, chaps, yeah?
Aye, go for
Yes.
it.
Go for it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Dear supporters, as you've been aware now, we are making changes at Rangers, and the parted way with Russell Martin, Matt Gill and Mike Williamson, and with thanks for all their hard work. When we took over the club in the summer, we shared what we want to build for Rangers, to win trophies in Scotland and be able to compete at a high level in Europe. We know achieving these goals will take time, but our performances as a result have not been good enough. We know you're frustrated, we are too. We did not get this right, and it's our responsibility to fix it and get us back on track. A rigorous, thoughtful recruitment process is already underway, and we are treating it with the urgency it deserves. The two of us are deeply involved in the evaluation of our full attention until we are confident we have a leader with the character and skill set to deliver results. Moving forward, we are fully confident in our players who possess the talent and determination to succeed. At the same time, a great deal of important work is progressing across the club, building a stable leadership and football structure under Patrick and Kevin's guidance, advancing detailed plans aligned with our long-term strategy and the beginning of the early stages of investment planning for Ibrox. Your focus will rightly be what's happening on the pitch, but this work also matters and will also help lay the foundations for success in the future. Change is never easy, but we are not deterred by hard work. In fact, we see it's a great opportunity ahead. The season is not over, and we have plenty to play for in all 4 competitions. Together, we are committed to delivering the performances and results that you can be proud of. Your loyalty to this club through thick and thin is something we do not take for granted. We see the efforts and emotion you put into supporting Rangers, and it drives us every day. We intend to earn your trust because we all share the same goal, restoring success to Rangers. Decent statement. I think the Patrick and Kevin being mentioned in there, some people might see that as it might be a red rag to a bull to some people at the moment, mate, because they ain't getting half scot-free in my eyes. Bridgman.
Well, what can you say to that? We're all the Rangers fans are going to agree to that and say, oh, whoopee-doo, we're happy now. No. That's the people that's causing the problem in the first place. And it'll continue until Sunday. What is it they don't get? What don't they get? To come out and try to sugar sweet everything and tell the Rangers fans, oh, you're really great. And the Rangers fans know they're really great because they've got a great club. They know all about it. It's the team that's going in the park and who's putting them there. These are the problems. So the ones that are running it, no, Rangers supporters aren't really interested in too much that they say. If they came out and said, we're going to make this and we're planning to do that, no. They're just trying to soak in with the Rangers fans, and it's no right. No respect there. For me anyway, they've got no respect for the Rangers fans saying it like that. I didn't like that.
All right. Robert, I think you see it slightly different, mate.
I do, mate. They obviously had to come out and say something. They couldn't stay silent. They've said something in there that we've all asked for weeks. They've came out with their hands up and said they've got it wrong, which is the first step, the admitting it part. The next part is that they're going to be the ones to fix it. I think that's very poignant that they've made that emphasis that they're going to be heavily involved. That should hopefully give fans some reassurance, because the way I see it, Ox, is this was the start of their ownership. This was their tenure, and there's a black mark against it already because the first appointment is out within 4 months. They'll not want this again as their ownership and overseeing this. So they're looking at their credentials, their kind of appeal as well of how much trust we have in them. So I think that's quite a important statement they've made, and I think it's quite clear of what kind of road we're going to go down and who's actually involved in the next decision-making process. It bodes some questions as well down the line, but for first and foremost, mate, I think they've summed it up, kind of what we expected and what we actually asked for, admitting it and how it's going to be fixed with them heavily involved. It's all words until we see action, Ox, of course, but it's a start.
Aye. Words are cheap sometimes, but I think I agree with you. I had to come out and say something. Jim?
I think any of us could have wrote that there. But I think it's, if you say, and Robert said there, I think it's very clear that they're going to be involved this time. Again, whether they were involved in it last time because there was the stories going about that it was a 2v1, who wanted Martin. It'll be interesting to see how these guys get involved in it this time. Because at the end of the day, it's a black mark against them, which is actually going on here just now. But whoever's in, they can get a tune out of these players.
Oh, that's a whole show on its own. Get a tune out of these players, mate. Southside, your take on it, mate?
I was quite happy. I stayed on here before. There once they sack him, just come out, put your hands up and say, look, we're sorry, we got it wrong, and we'll fix it, and we'll get it right the next time. And they've only said things they want to earn their trust back, and that again is the support. Aye, it's only words, but listen, they're putting investment into the club, and they want to be successful, and they'll be building all aspects of the club up in the background, from commercial to the football department and all that. So at some point, it's all working fine, and we'll no bother about the back end of what's happening in the football department. Who's that? If we're winning and being successful on the park, and we bring some decent players in the next few transfer windows also, then we'll know that it's sort of working. But I think the statement covers everything that I think you maybe want to hear, but it's how you react and how they fix it. And the fact that they're saying they're going to take a personal interest in it, and they too are going to be looking into it along with others, I'll not just be them, because let's be honest, we don't know whether they're any good at picking a manager. So they'll entrust the rest of the well, maybe other aspects of the board that they've got in the footballing side, and hopefully come up with the right guy this time that will fit the club, and will be successful going forward. So you can accept that they made a mistake, Hawks. They've got it wrong, and now we need to see how they fix it, and they'll be judged on that going forward. And you've just got to accept their apology, isn't it, really?
Aye, listen, mate, obviously, we all get things wrong. In life, you know, I mean, I remember once I get some wrong Southside, I think it was in 84 or something like that. No, it happens to us all, you know what I mean?
Aye, it sure does. But I think it's people wanted to hear something, didn't they? So they've come out and gave us a statement.
People have made a mistake, haven't made anything, mate? Yeah. And when you try to build anything, you're going to make mistakes, especially when humans are involved. It's difficult to get everything right. Yeah, it's not a good start. Robert, it's not a good start, but obviously things can change quite quickly.
It kind of, and I said it before in the show when we kind of started to ramp up the pressure, not as obviously personally, but the surroundings about Martin and his tactics, performances. I still believe that if we can make the right appointment this time, that we can still get back in this league. I'm not saying it's over. It's never over till it's finished. We can get a right manager in, the right appointment. There's players there with potential that I think they just need the right coaching, the right management, and we'll see them on a different level. I know it's hard to judge them now and what we've seen, but it can change, mate. It can change.
That list of potential, mate, it must be on the back of your stamp, if I'm honest. No.
Mate, I'm saying it's hard to obviously judge what we've seen because they've been stuck to these instructions and these tactics and this philosophy that didn't work. So you might see players that maybe haven't performed in a different light. You might see players maybe not fit the next bill, but you're not going to know until we see who comes in and how they've set up the team. But there's players there that could go and do something, but it's whether they want to as players as well. As Southside said, the performance from the players themselves have to be questioned. If you have a bit of pride about your work and playing for the club, then you've got to go and show it. If you don't, then you'll be showing the door. Players have done it in the past, and nobody's bigger than the club, mate. So again, it comes down to who is next. That's a big question. But I think there is potential in the squad to get a tune out of them and kick on. It can't go any worse, so the only way is up.
Oh, mate. What we've seen so far, mate, I don't see any potential. I'll keep my powder dry, Jim. Maybe the new guy comes in and we maybe get a tune out of him, but as you see this now, we're rudderless with a bad group of players as well, versus.
Big time. I think that's the frightening thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a chance again yesterday to put myself back into the top 3 or 4. Gives a wee bit of momentum. Again, but it would have papered over the cracks. But the performance again, with certain individuals, all we ask for is to try. Gives a bit of fight. And we're not seeing it. Southside, you're everywhere, mate. This must be the worst that you've experienced. Even way back in the day when we were doing the leagues and all the rest of it. It's frightening where we are just now. And I've said it for weeks. I'm ranting on here. I think we are the worst football team in this league. I really do.
Anyway, right, boys, we'll get the phone lines open, Jess.
Go for it.
That's all right with you. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Aye, well, Robert, I hope your sentiment's correct, mate, and I hope that would suggest that what you're thinking is that manager had lost the dressing room, and I don't disagree with that. But what I'm seeing is players that can't do basics, mate, and I'm not physical enough, fast enough, and maybe some of them haven't got the ability to play in their first team, and it's frightening recruitment, mate. Frighteningly bad recruitment at the moment. You know, we've got a guy that we've spent millions on who isn't physically ready to play against Falkirk. He's all right in the European ties. Isn't physically ready to play against Falkirk? We've got a boy for Spurs who came in with a big reputation. He looks like a wee boy playing men's football, if you're honest. Yeah, he's got a decent touch. Yeah, but who's he ran away from? Who's he beat? Not much. And what we've seen him, we lack pace and power in the midfield. We must have the smallest midfield in the league by a distance. Yeah, and then we go to defence where we're all at times at 60s and 70s. But what I will say is actually we were that bad yesterday. The defence done all right. They put under that much pressure. You know, so hopefully you're right, Robert.
I hope so, mate. Again, I'm just basing it on obviously we can't really judge them and the potential too much based on what they've performed so far. We can see and analyse what they've done, but what I will take into that consideration is the environment, the atmosphere they've played in, and the leadership or the lack of leadership they've had from the management side, the overload of information potentially. So when a new manager comes in, it's always a clean slate for every player, as it is for any other club. So you'll really see what these players can offer or can't offer under a new manager, and that's when you can really assess them, because from the get-go, it was never a good fit. It wasn't the right atmosphere. They lost the dressing room very quickly, and what player wants to play for a manager that they're not interested in? They can't understand the logic. So that's why I'm hoping that when a new one comes in, they take a bit of note. Self-pride comes in as well, Ox, but
anyway, we've been joined by Jim. Evening, Jim.
Evening, Ox, Bridge, Robert, Jim, Southside. Well, you know I wanted to give the guy a chance. I wanted to give him 3 transfer windows. The abuse the guy got was out of this world. And I first went to the Ibrox when I was a wee boy. It was a red dash track round it with all the wee invalid cars and the wee white wall. And I was only a wee boy. My dad always
seen pictures of that, Jim. Carry on, mate.
My dad and all his mates with their suit jackets on with the bonnets. So, and I've
any half bottles in the pocket?
Funny enough, I'll tell you a wee quick story. One of my first games, I said, we used to stand where the concrete pillars were with the bars through them and that. And my father, I said, can I not get down the front? I want to get down the front. Wee Willie Johnson scored the one in my first game. And I went down the front. He says, right, on you go, but straight back up here. So I ran away down to the front wall and squeezed in between a couple of boys. The boy on my right hand side, I'm accused screw tap up more the head and he fell over the wall. They came with a stretcher, put him on it and carried him away.
Oh, sorry about that.
It wasn't me. It was the boy next to him. But that's a memory I'll never forget. My first time there. But anyway, I've never ran a Rangers manager down, and I never will. I don't care who they are. I'm a Rangers supporter. I wouldn't run them down. I love the club, everything about them. I can't. To me, the guy, what the hatred that guy got was incredible, and I don't know why. He's no wearing a shirt and tie. He's no get brown brogues on. And I couldn't care if he came with shorts and a t-shirt. If he could get his winning. He got a couple of quick points, lads. He got us into Europe up to Christmas. Doesn't matter what we all think here. He got us into a semi-final. He's undefeated against Celtic. Right? So, and he started, but he's got serial losers in the team. The midfield was nowhere to be seen the last couple of games. nowhere. And see if you've not got a midfield, that team's on top of your defence all the time. You know. But what I would like to say, and I'm disappointed the way the guy was treated. It's just my opinion. I don't care. I would never run Rangers managers down. I don't care if we're getting beat. Look at what they've done with trebles and all that across the city. I don't care. I'm not interested in it. But we've had to put up with that. And this guy's come in trying to better us. He's hardly had a couple of months. And I mentioned what he's done for us there. But what I want is, see all the people that's come on and get rid of him. I want to know, Ox, and I hope you ask every one of them, all the judges, who they want as manager.
Oh, that's a whole. Well, what I'll do for you, Jim, because I admire your cojones, mate. Because to fight against the tide is a difficult thing, mate, and you've stood your corner with class and dignity, mate. And by the way, I want to apologise for Bridge for throwing that screwball with that wee boy on 8 years ago. But listen, I'll ask them quickly, Ben. Quickly, right? Who they want, because the panel here was 100% they were happy that the manager's gone. And I think that's based on results, Jim. And also maybe his track record. There's some of the stats you're getting. 23 league games, that's us and Southampton. He's won 2, mate. Yeah. The record, the goals against us in 4 is frightening. If you take out the Alloa and Hibs game and start dissecting the statistics, mate, it's frighteningly bad. Frighteningly bad. And also, it just didn't look as a good fit. But I'll take your question, run the panel, mate, quickly. Who they want, because obviously they've thought about it. And if they've not made up their mind, they could just say pass. All right. Bridgeman, I know what you're going to say.
Gerrard for me. Yep. Any day.
Robert?
Pass at this moment in time.
That's fine, mate. Southside?
I was a pass and all, because this one needs to be well thought out and what we actually want. And see, at the end of the day, support. Don't pick managers, mate. No.
Because we got rid of one.
Jim?
Pass.
Yeah, I think that's fine, Jim. I mean, they've not made up their minds yet, and obviously, Agnes Fairwell's been well tipped, mate. Yeah.
One thing I would say is I think it'll be your man. I think it'll be him. It was at Everton, the defensive boy. So if we think Droz was Sean Dykes, I think if you think Droz was bad with this guy, you better get used to him.
Yeah, but
because
I think you look at his Burnley side, mate. They were a lot more successful than Russell Martin's ever been. I mean, he got that Burnley team into Europe.
What were they paying for players and wages? They're nowhere near Rangers will be paying. Nowhere near it.
Burnley in the Premier League?
Aye.
You'd be quite surprised at the wage bill they had, mate.
But they must have bought players in for a lot of money. To me, I think it's back away. You know, how can you... No, I just heard you saying there, Rox, just before I come on there, and I said, I can't believe that. We've just got rid of the manager, right? But now, all these players are hopeless. And I'm going, my God, what is it now? How do you get... So you get rid of the manager, so the players are hopeless, so we get rid of all him too. I can't get it.
Only time will tell, mate. Only time will tell. The problem is you're stuck with someone and have to turn out to be hopeless. But Jim, are you telling me you've watched these players for 16 games and you're excited with some of the recruitment at the moment?
Gasman, I think he could be a real top player, that boy.
Take Gasman, Europe, put the perception, part that. 7 league games, mate. Bread and butter. 7 league games. No kick the ball.
No midfield to give him the ball.
Never said that. Never answered that. Gasman, domestically, what's he done?
No, but you can't do anything if you don't get the ball. And
he's had a lot of the ball yesterday, mate. Couldn't he cross it? And I like the wee fella. I think he's got a lot of potential. Domestically, what's he done? Right, I'll give you Gasman then. I'll give him, because I like him. I think he's got ability. Right, who else?
Butland. Everybody
Butland,
wants it. Eddie Butland last year. He got a keeper, he got a keeper, he got a keeper. Different classes been this season. That boy.
Been my player of the season. But I'll give you this one, Butland. Southside, he's had a lot of practice this year, isn't he?
Aye. Listen, Jim, I think there is players in the squad, right, that probably once somebody else comes in and you play them to their strengths. Ant-Man didn't assist 15 assists last year at Go Ahead Eagles in Holland and scored a few. You know, we're bottom, and I think once we say to him, look, you can go to the byline, you don't need to cut in all the times. I think maybe some of them were working to the instruction that Russell Martin wanted them to do. Gasman was stinking yesterday for long periods of that game. He had plenty of time where he'd 1-on-1 and then he dilly-dallied about, then he was doubled up on. But I thought yesterday he was pretty poor again. But they were all pretty poor yesterday, to be perfectly honest, Jim. But I think he will in time become a good, decent player. Hawks disagrees. Asgard will become a good player. And I think getting the right sort of role, whether he goes and he can go and assist the striker like he did when he played at Luton. He was scoring 25 and 30 yarders when he was at Wigan. He scores an international duty. He boy's a talent. He just needs the team need to play with a bit of confidence and just play, to settle down now and get a philosophy under the next manager that comes in, and they all play in the right position. But the players are culpable for a lot of this. They were disgusting yesterday in attitude and application on that park, and they dropped another 2 points because Falkirk worked harder than us yesterday on and off the ball, and players were shoved off the ball. Cornelius I gave pass marks to yesterday, probably Connor Barron to a point, and at least they put a tackle in yesterday and put him up in the air. Something we've not seen for a long time for a Rangers player, and he took his booking accordingly. But apart from that, we were lacking in all areas in that park yesterday, and that is down to players that take the field and represent the club.
Guaranteed, 100%.
See, in the industry, Jim, the manager always carries the canna.
See to me, Ox, I'm sick, I'm disgusted with the way that man was treated, the hatred, and I don't get it. I don't care. See, his results would have got rid of him. You know what I mean? It doesn't need all that. There was a guy on yesterday, I can't remember where it was, I heard the guy and he says, but the good thing was, they only stood in front of the bus. They didn't throw any barriers. And I'm going, my God, what's this? You know, the boys stood there. They didn't do anything wrong. They just stood to block the bus. Or they shouting and swearing. But
it might be the odd swear word, mate. Maybe it was a Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah, but anyway, that's not the way Rangers supporters, at my age anyway, they don't carry it. See, to me, Rangers supporters have always been above and beyond. They've always said a bit about them. Respect, you've always got it. But it's gone. And I don't know if it's 2012 to the new that it's went downhill. But the hatred that man got, he's a vegan, he doesn't wear a shirt and tie, he doesn't wear brown belts. Who's caring? Let him build a squad. You see, another thing else I'd like to ask you, it's just me, I'm maybe different to everybody else, but I see Rangers supporters as special people, and that's the way I am. No, I don't want to do levels.
Oh, listen, mate. People are frustrated, and obviously there's a lot of pent-up emotion when we don't get results. We were looking for a new regime. And he wasn't a popular choice, so he was maybe behind the 8 ball before he started. So you couple with that, and then right for the start, the shambles against Bruges in a friendly, mate. Yeah, and then the statements in the press conferences, none of it helped him, mate. And that just the momentum just grew against him, mate. But there is no need to get personal, mate. Yeah, no need to get personal. And by the way, if he got results, they would have bothered what he was wearing at the side of the park. There'd be odd comment and people say, I prefer him. If you don't get results, all these things are magnified. Jim, we're going to let you go, mate, because we've got a lot of callers wanting to come in.
No, magic. No.
Thanks for your call, mate. Thanks for your call, mate. And admire your fortitude, mate. Yeah?
No, take care, everyone.
Cheers, mate. We'll be joined by Billy. Evening, Billy.
Good evening, Ox. Good evening, everybody.
Evening,
Billy. All right, troops. Well, where do we start? Listen, the writing was on the wall, for, as far as I can remember, for the Bruges game, the friendly at Ibrox, just as you touched on there, Ox. But I think what we done there was, due to the takeover, everybody has took her eye off the ball. Because obviously with the takeover and all this investment and blah, 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 etc., etc. And I think that's what happened there. But when the alarm bell started to ring for me, mate, it was the Champions League qualifiers, when we were all over the place. And when you look back on them now and you say to yourself, well, if the players or the teams we played against players had decent strikers or goal scorers, we could have been humiliated before we got absolutely battered by Bruges, you know. But I suppose it's better late than never. I would have punted them after the Hertz game. That's what I would have done, and I would have put the feelers out. As I said it in the show a few weeks ago. I'd have put the feelers out for Jose Mourinho. I know it was an ambition to go for such a high-profile manager. But listen, if you don't ask, you don't get. But this next manager, whoever it is, we need to make sure we get this right, because I'm sick and tired, the same as the rest of you probably, interviewing managers, and they keep interviewing the wrong guy. So somebody's got to be held accountable for the next decision. I read through the statement. I listened to the statement when you come on. I thought the American owners hit the nail on the head. They've put their hands up. They've accepted their responsibility and what's went on. So fair play to them. There's no much more they can do. Some people will pick faults in it because they're never going to please everybody.
No.
But but to me, mate, that this guy was just a part of merchant, another part of merchant, mate. I couldn't stand his arrogance and his narcissist ego, smirking attitude, his temperament, mate. His conduct was shocking in his interviews. The way he used to smirk it when it was all wrong, mate. And he was just a part of merchant, and he's obviously just parted his way into that Rangers job, because he came in there promising the fans the world, etc., etc., and he had a brilliant job at his disposal, a fantastic manager's job, one of the best in football, and he's blew it big time. And he's nobody else. He pointed to he's blamed the players, he's blamed this one, he's blamed the next one, etc., etc. But he's nobody else to blame apart from himself, and that's the bottom line. He's got nobody else to blame apart from himself.
Cheers,
and
Billy.
I'm glad he's away, mate.
I gathered that, mate. Question to you then, just if you've thought about it. If you haven't thought about it, just say pass, mate. Next manager.
Well, the safety net one would be Steven Gerrard, wouldn't it?
All right, fair enough, mate. I don't think you'll be alone in that call, but we don't know how interested he is. But listen, I think you've maybe summed up pretty good, decent there. I'll go to Jim. Jim, Billy said it basically wasn't a good fit. That's what you're saying, Billy, yeah? No, it wasn't a good fit for day one. Jim?
Billy, you're actually right, Billy. He pointed the finger at everybody. And I think yesterday, by the way, and I think he knew he was away, he can attain a wee bit of responsibility yesterday. That's the first time I'm saying, he came in. But see when he came out and made the comments, do you think he'd already been told? Because apparently they two were doing in that tunnel area when he came out. He came out there and made the comments at the end of the game on TV and all the rest of it. Do you think he's been away before he made the comments?
Well, I think he's probably new himself, Jim, because he's obviously new himself. Listen, I need to get results here, and I'm not getting the results. And he's maybe said to himself, well, listen, that's it, I'm away, because he never got the result he was looking for. I also said in the show, asked a couple of weeks ago as well, Ox, I don't know if you remember, I can't, in fact, I can't
you
remember.
You might find this hard to believe, Billy. I don't write down everything that everybody says on the show. Carry on.
But I can't mind the 3 questions, but it was what I asked. But I mentioned he would need to get 9 points out of the next 9 games, the next 3 games. I.e. Livingston, Bruges, some Grants and Falkirk, and he got 4, and out of these 3 games, mate, we got out of jail against Livingston, you know what I mean? So
never get a clean sheet once. Bridgeman, and you come, Bridge.
Yeah, we back to the game. I think our players, and obviously Southside was there, and others been there with them. My honest opinion is that the players are scared. Our players, Rangers, are all scared. Literally every one of them, because every game is pure pressure, and they don't have the confidence and the resilience to actually meet it. They were kicked all over the park at times. It seemed like to me, and the referee wasn't helping them. You got on and got them to do it and get it on yourself. But we couldn't compete with that team yesterday, and that's happened to us a number of times with a number of teams. We can't compete with them, and I don't mean that in skills and so on and so forth, because a lot of your boys are very skillful, but they get overpowered, shall we say, either by numbers of players against them. And they rush in, and they're always rushing in, and the fists are up, not to punch, but they're pushing in the back, and the lower back as well. It's all there, all the things that is spoiling tactics. That's what's happening to Rangers. They're getting beat by spoiling tactics, sometimes poor refereeing, but mostly the players themselves. The players have not got confident enough, not strong enough, and they don't believe in what they've got the strength to do.
We've got a Croatia, Bridge.
Right, bud.
We've been joined by Matt, but Matt, you've got a lot of noise coming for you, mate.
Is it still coming through, aye?
No, stop, mate. You must have been moving about there. Stop moving, stop breathing, and just talk.
Okay.
And you go, Matt. Floor's yours.
Oh, no. So very happy that he's going. I don't agree with what the fans done yesterday. I hate the fans so much because I think we look like a gang and no actual Rangers fans. But I'm glad he's going. Just my opinion. I was hoping I could get on while Jim was still on to ask him a question, but I can't.
All right, go on then, ask it, mate. What were you going to ask him?
Well, I just want to know, he's that so blue tinted glasses that he wears. I just want to know what he's seen in Russell Martin. Every week I've tried to catch him and I keep missing him. But I just want to know why he was so convinced Russell Martin was going to turn it around. I want to know what he's seen. Because we struggled against on the weekend.
I don't know if he intimated that, mate. And I don't want to be speaking for Jim, but the feeling I felt, he just didn't he didn't feel it was the Rangers' way, and he maybe being a traditionalist. I don't think it was particularly Russell Martin's south side.
Oh, right, okay.
I remember one night, Matt, when Jim was on, and he was talking about backing the manager and that, and I said to him, I can remember saying to him, what is your belief that you think he can turn it round? And I did say to him, is it because he went in that run when he was in the Championship with Southampton, where he had about 7 draws, but they went 20-odd games undefeated, and the Leeds didn't even go up that year, who had a bigger budget and better players, and the squad that he took up into the Premiership, which they probably weren't meant to go up. And he said, aye, we got them on a run in the Championship. From what I remember, we talked about. But I'm the same, Matt. I've watched it every week, like everybody else, and the business, you're not seeing any improvement, you're not seeing anything repetitive where you can say, aye, right, you can see what we're trying today. We've been creating a lot of chances, maybe been unlucky and had a bad result, or somebody scored like Motherwell near the end of the game, the first game of the season, and he came out and lambasted the players and with egos and stuff, and that probably doesn't help. and then you listen to some of the interviews and stuff. But I thought at some point he might have, when the squad started to evolve and we got players in, it might start to look a bit better, but it hasn't, Matt, as we've all seen. It just got worse, and it was just a matter of timing. And now they pulled the plug, and now we nearly need to be clever on the next manager. It's all right saying we want Steven Gerrard, or we want Muscat, or we want whoever else is the people are flinging names into the hat. We've got to get this right. And if they've got a philosophy of how they want a manager to come in, and we've got a style of play, if this is what they're trying to implement, that we'll play a high pressing game and we'll do this and we'll do that. But these players are lacking in effort and desire. A lot of them, they know, and they're not doing what they should be doing. So we'll have to see how we go forward. But we'll be working with this group of players, and they need to get this one right now. We need to get the right fit for the club and go forward. And then these players need to respond to the new manager coming in, and they need to go out there and start showing that they can actually play and handle the pressure. And if we start winning games, the pressure eases a bit on them. You know what I mean, Jim? But we need a manager in, and if he comes in for the game against Dundee United at Ibrox, he's not going to have a lot of time to work with the players because they're all being international duty. But it needs to be done, and it'll need to be done soon.
Wasn't there a Muscat we wanted? There was a Muscat yesterday, mate, the way we played.
See, the thing is, even, sorry, Ox, just quickly, see, the thing is, right, Muscat probably wasn't in the frame the first time round. Sean Dyche certainly was available, wasn't in the frame the first time round. These are names that people are banding about, you know. So people are saying, oh, we'll just go for him now. But they could have went for Sean Dyche, and then they chose not to.
I don't mind Sean Dyche. I don't talk about his football, but somebody I know is very friendly with him. And listen, what I'm saying is, see if he come in the snow, mate, with this Everton connection, I don't know if it'd be a good fit, mate. I think people would start going, oh, here we go. Yeah, was that, as Albert said, when was that decided in Thelwell Sandpit round the back, you know what I mean? There's going to be all that connotations and all that criticism. And unfortunately, just because of what's happened, people will say it, Everton, and it'll be, wow. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, Robert, but maybe it's
no, you're not, mate. You're kind of similar to what I'm thinking, mate. The only reason I see Sean Dyche still mentioned now, excuse me, is, as Southside said, he was available before. We didn't go and get him. The only reason I see still mentioned is the connection between him and Thelwell at Everton. Now, I don't know how that relationship is still to this day. I don't know if they've got a good connection, how it was at Everton. Maybe somebody that can tell us, but I don't know in a working relationship how that would go down. Is he the right fit for your club? For me personally, no. He builds teams that are hard to beat, but we've still got to be scoring goals. We've not created enough chances, and I just don't think he's the kind of manager that would come in and do that.
Mate, we're taking enough. We're not making enough chances, mate. It's not that we're not taking them. We're not making any.
That's what I mean. We're not creating at all in terms of games. So, as much as he might solidify a defence and shoot it up going forward, is he the right manager? Not for me. I think there's ones out there, and that's why it's a pass for me, mate. And because years ago, even when Gio was in, the large majority of fans were all of the same opinion. Get Gio. Even when Gerrard was mentioned, go get Gerrard. Bring a big name. See now, there's nobody who is 100% guaranteed is backed by supporters, because already we've mentioned 4 or 5 different names. There's no obvious candidate that the supporters all want. So already there's split opinions and managers.
Aye, but there's nobody out there with a Rangers pedigree that you would usually swing behind. You know, that maybe, maybe some people might mention Derek McInnes because he's been managed for a long time because he played for the club and the Rangers supporter. But I think there's a lot to be decided behind the scenes as well. There's not always candidates, and I think that was a point that Jim was trying to make to you, Matt, that he didn't feel as if it was the Rangers' way.
Right.
But I'm not speaking for Jim. I'm just saying that was the way I picked it up, and he thought the guy should be given time. He didn't. I don't think he ever said he was a good fit and he was doing well at the moment, but he wanted to give him time. But it was a difficult watch, Matt. Eh?
Oh yeah, terrible. I was at a couple of games and there was no atmosphere. It was just Well, sorry, I'll rephrase that. There was atmosphere, but it wasn't good. It wasn't a good atmosphere.
What I will say is, I'm no happy, Matt. I'm complete opposite for happy. And I'll tell you why. Because the managers went, and if we lose any manager, it's usually because we're not doing well at that particular period. And that brings me no happiness at all, mate, personally.
It's no meaning I'm happy for the club. I'm happy he's gone. And he's happy he's gone. He's got £4 million in his pocket now. That's what his contract was. 4.5 million. There was somebody on the other day talking about the wages at Rangers, right? Do you all know what the wages are?
I don't think he'll be getting £4.5 million a year, mate.
Oh, he probably won't. Obviously, it'll come out a bit. That's what his contract was. His 3-year contract came out at 4.5 million.
Aye, but there's no.
There's £1.5 million a year he's on.
Yep.
Aye, but that'll no severance pay, mate. That'll be.
They won't get that, obviously, severance, but Mourinho's on the exact same. Mourinho's on 4.5 for a 3-year contract with Benfica.
I couldn't tell
that
you.
That says odd, doesn't it?
I couldn't tell you what Mourinho's on.
Oh, I've looked all the Rangers' wages up, what the wage bill is now for this year. For the full season.
Where are you finding that?
I know certain people. That's all I'll say. That's all I'm saying. The highest Rangers player is Danilo. Before tax, he's on £39,000 a week. Before tax.
Yes,
that includes sick money.
Similar to you, Bridgeman. Similar wages to your good self, Bridge.
It's just an amazing figure to think that we're paying Danilo all that money, and the poor guy, he can hardly get on.
Our club, mate. Danilo's not the top earner of the club.
No, he is.
Danilo,
I can reassure you, 100%. He's the highest. The second highest is going to shock you. He's a loan player, who everybody keeps calling him a young man, a young boy, at 25. And Max Aarons is the second highest player.
Aye, well, he'll be a lot of money because he's got a Premier League contract, mate.
Aye. His Premier League contract, I believe, is 49,000, if I remember right, and his contract with us is 30 odds. Before tax, that's before tax, no after tax.
That tax man's a pain, isn't he, Southside?
Aye, can be. Listen, you're going to, whatever we're paying for loan players and that, there's a fee involved and we have to pay a percentage. Giga will be the same as the rest of the loan players that we've took, probably including Cornelius, with an option to buy him. Should be made that permanent at the end of the season. So, aye, there's going to be an outlay and some of the players are getting money, and you're looking at performance-wise at the moment, Matt, it's poor. Diamondi's another one. Diamondi, I know he was played out of position a couple of times in his team selection, but apart from that, he's nowhere near the performance levels what we're expecting. For a player like him, it's been here for a bit of time now and understands what's involved.
He can't kick the ball, mate. If you're honest, mate, he scored some good goals and he came into the team and he scored a couple of goals quite rapid for the edge of the box. But they sort of ran down his leg, mate. He can't strike a ball playing in midfield. He can't cross it with any. He doesn't look as if he's bulked up and he's been with us 2 years, mate. But I'm sure we'll debate that as the time goes on. Listen, Matt, thanks for your call, buddy. We're going to drop you. We'll get some other calls.
Just one quick bit before you drop me. I would go for McInnes. That would be my choice. That would be my choice. But I don't think it will happen. But have a good night, guys.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. Listen,
night.
People, get yourself in mute because we're going to have a tune.
I don't know if you can see what the Rangers really mean to me these last few years. I've been afraid we might just drift away. So let me tell you some stories sing some songs, make me think about where we come from. That's the reason why I feel so very proud today. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium is calling me, and now I'm going home to think of life without the Rangers. You know that it would make me more than sad. Glasgow Rangers is everything I've ever had. We won 9 in a row, and I'm still dreaming of Brian Laudrup and Trevor Stephen. Marvin Andrews said, keep believing. Davy Cooper on the wing. We remember Gaza with great affection. The day the helicopter changed direction. Jimmy Baxter, he was pure perfection. Super Ali scores again. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium is calling me, and now I'm going home to think of life without the Rangers. You know that it would make me more than sad. Glasgow Rangers is everything I've ever had. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more than sad. Glasgow Rangers is everything I've ever had.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
All I can say, Southside Foxes on vacation. Wow, what a number that was, eh?
It was certainly different.
I've actually, with that version, I actually agree with Albert. Oh dear, different class, Jimmy.
Aye, different class. Listen, can I ask something on the Steven Gerrard thing?
Are you asking me personally?
No, I'm asking the panel, and I'm asking everybody out there. People saying, is Gerrard in a position to be demanding assurances? Right on this, 100%. I think this time we need Gerrard more than Steven Gerrard needs us.
Well, Stevie G's got enough money to live his life comfortably, pundit work, media work, mate, and he'll never be signing on, mate. Yeah. He's got a lifestyle at a different level, mate. It's where what ambition and what drives him. Yeah, but I take your point, mate. I take your point. Financially, it's going to make not one jot to Stevie G's lifestyle.
I know, but as I'm saying, the last time Gerrard needed us, I think we need Gerrard more this time than we did the first time.
Well, Robert?
Listen, Ox, I can get the buzz about Gerrard again coming back because of the connection they can have with the players and the fans, is importantly. What are you basing it on, Jim, that we need him now than we did before? Because, again, you look back at his... We galvanised the squad, he got us into a great position in Europe, but one trophy, mate, is that what we're basing it on, just the connection with the fans overall? Or do you think is he the standout choice for you? What are you basing it on?
I think a bit of stability and maybe kick a few backsides. Whereas I'm saying before, he needed us more then than we needed him. That's what I'm getting at. What the question is he in a position to be demanding reassurances for this board? That's what I'm getting at there. I'm not saying Steven Gerrard's who I want, because I was hell bent against it before Russell Martin, because I thought at times, as Southside will probably say, I thought some of the football under Gerrard at the back end, it man was ridiculous. And he'll point a finger at Tynecastle and that Scottish Cup tie.
Yeah, that was about a season and a half before he left, mate.
It was ridiculous. But then near the end, am I right? Was it Hamilton Accies near the end?
No, that was in the 55 season, mate.
Oh, was it? Right.
Aye. The Hamilton Accies was the same. The Hearts that was pre-COVID, mate. If you like, yeah. I mean, he did leave us. We were 6 points clear at the top of the league, mate, and in the semi-final of the League Cup and progressing in Europe. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, what will be. If he gets asked. Anyway, we'll be joined by Josh. Evening, Josh, for Everton, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, good evening, matey. I would ask how you are, but we all know how Rangers fans are at the minute. Probably happy that you finally got the result that you want with the manager. But it's like the next steps now are pivotal, aren't they? So they can't go diving in. They've got to take the time, make sure it's the right appointment, which they probably didn't do last time. They didn't really take the time over it enough and make sure that the person coming in is going to uphold the values of what a Glasgow Rangers side should be. They should be competing at the top of that table and competing for honours, and they're not doing that at the moment, do anything but. I've made the case for managers like Sean Dyche, who have been around the block a little bit. They can come in and stabilise it, go back to basics a little bit. You might not get the frills and spills, but you just guaranteed that level of stability for the short term. I think it's got to be somebody who knows the way around a little bit and can sort of put their stamp on it and leave it in a better place ultimately for the next manager, maybe next season when you've had proper time to have a look at it. And if Rangers are in a better position, then you can attract a better quality of manager then, can't you? But just at the moment, I don't think they can really aim to be attracting the top managers because they aren't in a top position at the moment. Like, the club's in free fall, so you need someone to stabilise it. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So my choice would probably be Sean, but I've also heard Barry's name mentioned again in a caretaker capacity. I kind of want to say no to that because Barry's proven that before, hasn't he? So he's got past experience with that to hold the fort. Stephen's been mentioned. There's a thing about never go back, but then it's counter thingy with my team with David Moyes, isn't it? Because he's gone back and he's worked wonders. So it can work both ways. That when you bring back a former manager.
Walter Smith, mate. Walter Smith.
Yeah, Walter as well. Yeah, Walter took you to your UEFA Cup final, didn't he? In his third spell or second spell. So yeah, it can be done. And I think the style of football Stephen had conduct and the way that he'd be around the training ground and the lads would listen to him and get back on board with him, and it'd raise the fans' morale as well to see someone with the standing of Stephen in that dugout, from his playing perspective as well. He's one of the leading performers for England for a long, long time, and he was able to transmit that in his previous spell. I get the argument about one trophy in 9, but the actual progress that was made under Stephen in terms of the style and in terms of the aura around the place and the players that were attracted to the club, that would give Stephen.
Can I come in here?
Of course.
Just play a minute, Jim. You know your name, yeah?
Sorry,
just wait to hear your name. It's
on you go, Doc.
Sorry. I know you can't. I know your memories. Let Josh finish, mate. Carry on, Josh.
Yeah, so the point that I was making is there's different styles out there. There's different levels of manager that you can go for. But for me, I kind of take the safe option, which for me would be someone like a Sean. And I mean, the fans probably won't like that because it'd be very much back to basics. It'd be a big centre forward and playing off that and looking for scraps and getting back to the basics of just winning games, whether that's 1-0 or 3-0. Just the basics of 3 points each time for now, and then you could maybe sprinkle the gloss of a so-called more stylistic manager when the club's in that better position, because I don't think at the moment the club's in any fit state to be looking for the top managers or to be commanding the top managers, mate, because of the start of the season.
We've not got the personnel, mate, to play the way Sean Dyche's played, mate.
Well, they've got that big centre forward coming from Everton, and I mean, I've liked what I've seen from him. And I know Sean didn't take to him in his spell at Everton, but he also had like.
If you've liked what you've seen him, mate, you must have seen him play for Everton at times, mate. We've not seen nothing yet. I had a few chances in Europe, mate. He should have scored with one, and he hit one like a wee lassie for 18-yard box. Like I'd be disappointed if my granddaughter had it like that. Yeah. I've not seen anything from him, mate. Well, he might turn out to be a good player. But at this moment in time, we've not seen anything. Jim, in you come.
Sorry for interrupting you there, Josh. I'm just going to ask you a wee question here. How's your brother and your dad feeling today, mate, with the goings on at the club yesterday?
But with the goings on, sorry, you have to put more meat on the bones. So that
was a wee bit of tongue in cheek there, mate. I'm asking you how your dad and your brother are feeling with what's going on at the club today and yesterday. It's a wee bit of tongue in cheek there.
Right, so Jim, you might have to add to that. I think he's talking about Mr. Felwell, correct, James?
Aye, and his son. And I'm saying that his other son. I think his other son's on here tonight.
There's a reason I did the jokes on here, Jim.
Very good, officer. Very good.
Oh, brilliant.
Aye, most of the ones that other people come out with don't go down well, Jim. He's the host of the meeting, that Ox boy.
I know.
It was a good try, Jim. He's talking about the Everton connection, and there would be a problem with Sean Dyche with that, Josh. I don't know what you think, Billy, that people would say, "Oh, here we go, Mr. Felwell again." Yeah.
Aye, that's exactly what will happen. That's what the first thing I thought right away, Ox, when you think you're that Everton connection again. But see, regarding Jim's comment, his question on Steven Gerrard, and I touched on it just when I first came on there. That's definitely the safety net option, and we've got to remember as well, when Gerrard first came in, right, it was a project, and Dave King came out and let us all know this was a 4-year plan or something, whatever the case may be, and obviously somewhere down the line he's been sold false promises. So if he was going to come in again, he'd need cast iron guarantees that whatever the deal was, that they can't renege on that deal. But Gerrard, he knows the club inside out, doesn't he? He understands the mentality. He's a born winner. All right. And he knows what it takes. And even though he was a rookie manager, right, he got it right when it mattered, when he stopped him getting their 10, And we've got to remember as well with Gerrard and all, he maybe never won his Ori trophies, right? But look how good we became in Europe and the progress we made in Europe. I think I could be wrong on this, but so don't quote me on it. But I think every season Gerrard progressed to the next round, season by season by season, in the time he was there. So he raised the bar in Europe, and he got us playing some brilliant football in Europe, And when you look back now as well, half the nucleus of that team under Gio went to a European final. So that was that to me is a good standard or a good option for Steven Gerrard. Then again, would he come again? You don't know, eh? But as I said, guys, that's the safety net option for me with Steven Gerrard. you know.
And if I think back, I'll go to Bridgeman after I go to Southside for this one. If I think back in 2018, mate, when Murray was the manager, we were getting hammered left, right and centre by that mob. Gerrard came in, mate, with a pretty similar position, Southside in some respects, eh?
Aye. Gerrard, when he first came, brought the professionalism back to the club. He brought standards back to the club. And he didn't like to get beat. He was a winner. And he installed that into the team. But at the same time, he wasn't successful in Scotland, but he put credibility back into the club in Europe. Plus, he done a number on him across the city for a season and a half. But we had to wait to get him to get to 55, which we needed today. Now, the season before, when they handed him the league, before the season finished, he was getting criticised quite heavily for the way we were playing and that and stuff. I think if he comes back, you'd need to bring the right coaching staff round about him. If he comes back, if that's what the board go for. But if it's no, we need to get somebody in anyway. Sean Dyche was available and the board didn't look at him and they took Martin. So now there's a clamour that he might be the right fit. Well, if he was going to be the right fit, I was not the right fit back then. People also said they wanted McInnes. Some wanted him a while back when he was available. And other people doubted his credibility. Could he do it? I think he's got good man management skills and stuff, but whether he could do the job and have took us forward, I don't know. But there's people out there saying, no, he's the right guy to try and get in and stabilise the club and get it set out. Similarly, which Sean Dyche is what people already can do for you. It's down to the board. We need to go for either a forward-thinking manager or we go for a figurehead, somebody like the mould of Gerrard. Some people wanted Lampard. Look at the job he's doing now at Coventry. So there's going to be loads. Muscat is another one that people will say it might be a good fit. But first and foremost, Ox, we need to get it right. They need to get it right. It's they're coming up with a decision and it has to be right going forward because we need to get back to winning in Scotland first and foremost. And whoever comes in, if they're in for the Dundee United game, they could get us into a final. Clement done it when he came in, went to the final and won it. So whoever comes in has got a chance to go to a final and win it and then take it on for there. But we need to get the right manager in. Probably somebody with a presence and that, somebody that will command respect in the dressing room. Because these players need shook up in there, and I think there's got enough in the squad to get a good season out. Some of them are still there, that are there in the door. It's just about setting them out and putting the style properly in place and playing them in the right positions with the right philosophy, mate. And I think we're far away from having a decent team, but I've said before, we need to extend in January and we need to get players in next summer, whoever was going to be in charge, because the squad still need physicality in there, which we don't have throughout the squad. We've not got a right good spine through our team yet.
All right, Mr. Albert, is in the boys' gate. Evening, Albert.
Evening, guys. Just long time caller, first time listener, mate. It's the night.
Round the applause, yeah.
You must have heard the tune.
I missed the first hour, so I don't know how far you've got.
Did you miss the tune, mate? Did you miss the tune?
I missed the tune. Aye.
Listen, mate, see tomorrow when you're one of the moments. I know you're very, very busy, right? But one of the moments you've got 5 minutes, mate. Just go back to about 9 o'clock and listen to the tune, mate. You'll love it. Do you agree, Southside?
It'll be that, aye, but
it's different level.
Nonsense.
Different level, mate. Different level.
Aye, I believe you.
More certainly a different level.
Different level, mate. Different level. Right, Mr. Albert, we're going to get your thoughts on it, and we've also been joined by Smurf. So on you go, Albert. The floor's yours.
Well, I take it listening to you there for the last couple of minutes. You're on to the new manager, who's going to be and all that. I think before we go away down that road. What?
We've just developed. Josh had come in and asked about Sean Dykes, and then they were around the table and we heard some of the boys. But carry on, mate. The floor's yours.
Well, I think
Oh, all of you shut up. Tell me. I think we need to do a bit of housekeeping before we do anything else, mate. There's a review need to be done for the top two. They need to review Stuart, Thelwell and Friends. Martin's already been done, and his coaches, they're gone, and the players. They need to do the full review now of what's been happening here. The decision for Martin coming into the club, somebody has to pay with their job for that one, mate. That's just a fact of life. That is poor decision making of the top quality, poor decision making, mate. That cannot be allowed. That can't be allowed to go unpunished, mate. That's got to be sorted out before we even go any further. So there's no use looking for new managers where we can't get rid of the clowns that we're picking. And Martin, the first manager. I mean, to do that right, you can make mistakes, mate, but to get it that right is not acceptable, mate. It's just simply not acceptable. And then the players, none of the players that have come in so far have really, Gas man, the good Gaza man. Apart from him, the rest of them have no showing. It's fine saying they've got to settle in, which they have, and they might come good. You don't know. Some of them might come good. I don't think they'll all come good, but some of them might come good. But you need to then say to Thelwell, now look, we've had a limited budget here, and we wanted to spend it wisely, and we've done anything but spend it wisely. So you need to answer to this. So he needs to answer it, and he also needs to answer why he started his boy. It's got to be asked with these two guys. It's got to be answered. Asked and answered properly. If they don't come up with a good reason why he started his boy, he goes, mate. He falls in his sword for that one. That is nonsense, mate. Just nonsense. We all know it. There's no use saying it just doesn't sound right, it doesn't look right, it doesn't smell right. We need to do something with it. We need to find out. So that review has to take place before we even move one step forward to go and get managers. Once we find out all that and once we clean house, then you start looking for managers. We start looking for directors of football and CEOs maybe, and then look for the manager. We're back to where we started right back in last year, way back last year. We're right back to square one. In fact, we're actually back further than that. The players need to start performing. I mean, it's as simple as that. They need to start performing. I'm looking at Tavernier and I'm looking at Raskin. I'm hoping what happened to they two. I mean, Tavernier, for example, he's running about taking everything, mate. He's up at the centre forward, he's out in the outside left, he's in left back, he's in right back, he's in centre forward. He's everywhere, mate. Absolutely everywhere. And Raskin, he just wants to do it himself. I think they two have just went, oh, this is a clown. We're just getting on with this. Just don't listen to this clown anymore. I'm hoping that's what's happened there, because that's what it looks like happened if you think about it, mate. But they've just totally abandoned anything he's saying to them. Totally abandoned it and went, nonsense. This is just crap and nonsense. If you agree with it, it's one thing. You don't agree with it, I can see your point. There should be following instructions, and as I said before, it's results will get them, and results, as far as I'm concerned, you can see the protests go on, but the results go on, mate, and they end up. It's just it's a fact of life. But the point I'm trying to make, the review needs to be done, mate. Forget about names at the moment. The review needs to be done, and it needs to be done quickly, mate. It's not like this will have to take months to review this. This will take half a day to review this, mate. But somebody needs to lose their job for appointing Martin. That's one of the things. Martin goes, but so does the clown that appointed him. What do you think?
Oh, well, they'll know internally, yeah. And listen, would you trust somebody else? They might be loaded, mate, and they might have money that we can't imagine, apart from Bridgeman. But these people like Bridge, don't like Part, mate, easily, mate, and they'll look and say, wait a minute, this has cost us X, Y, and Z, mate, and you told us A, B, and C, and I think that'll come naturally. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody from over the pond appeared, mate. You know, maybe even more so day to day, because obviously they'll be questioning Patrick Stewart because he's had a big role in this, mate. Because he was a scout and came in and done some of the early work, and then was involved in the takeover. And then when he's got his right, Philip goes, Queen's Park, we have to change. Brought in Barry. Let's be honest, obviously there was a couple of highs, but a lot of lows in that period as well. And then we come out of that and appoint this guy. And after an extensive interview programme, yeah.
I will see that, but just to touch on that, they turned around and said, correct me if I'm wrong, but he turned around and said it's seven interviews. and Martin confirmed it. Oh, I had 7 interviews. That tells me more about Stuart and the people that are interviewing than it does about Martin himself. It tells me they're clowns. In 7 interviews, they can't work out this guy's a clown, a charlatan. They can't work that out, and they appoint him anyway. I mean, somebody needs to hold these people to task. They can't get away with that. I mean, they're hanging themselves. They're coming out with stupid statements and hanging themselves. 7 interviews, and it was extensive, he says. And then that clown Thelwell comes out and turns and says, see, Martin's the best young coach I've ever worked with. I'm saying, another guy stuck his head in the noose. Two of them have stuck their head in the different nooses. It has to be pulled. They have to fight with Joe, mate. You can't get it this wrong. But it's all right getting it. Oh, it didn't quite work out. But we're sitting second in the league. We've got 6 points in Europe. No, we're in the semi-finals of the League Cup. It's no good, but it's still never worked out quite right. We're near enough bottom of the league in Europe, and we were second bottom of the league in Scotland. You've got one league win. That's not just useless, mate. That's hopeless. That's not just getting through a bad patch, mate. That's just absolutely, utterly hopeless. But there you go.
Plus the fixtures really kind to his old bit.
We're on our favour, mate. On our favour. What you've got as well is them sitting going, oh, we're going to get a new man. This new manager's not going to sort it till you sort the root problem, mate. Here, it's this root problem situation that needs to be sorted and cleaned out, and better quality of players, and that goes without saying.
Sorry, pal. I 100% agree with everything Albert says. I said it right at the start of the programme. It's not just the manager. Up to the third down, or up, should I say. You need Thelwell needs to go, and Stuart needs to go. They need to go. They need to go. They've allowed this to happen. And I don't know about the one just above him. He may have to go as well. But seriously, I just can't see. How can you bring another manager in under those 2 people? It's not right. It's not right. But being Rangers, and I've seen them doing things in the past, I just don't think they 2 have got Rangers at heart. And I don't think they're capable of running a company. That's my honest opinion. And they can go any time at all. And it could go away tomorrow morning for all I care. And if they brought the big jobs, big guys over from America, they must do the same. And look back at our history for the last 10 years or whatever. And we're a far, far better team then than we are now. And we're a very, very poor team at the moment. And we've all said it. We've all said it. So as far as I'm concerned, that's where you start. They need to come in and do an examination of what's happened, who said what, and what did what, and so on and so forth. Because they 2 have just come in and piled on to the manager and could throw him out. And now everybody's going to be living in some sort of wonderland until we get a new manager in. And then he'll be the one that's going to have to carry the can. No. Not for me anyway, so apologies. I'm not going to speak for anyone. But I do agree with Albert. I think Albert's spot on. And it's strange. It's strange that these 2 guys are still there. And they're the ones that, I dare say, they're the 2 that sacked him. And they were totally responsible for everything he did. Totally responsible. They've been asked a number of times, if everything's okay, that manager's come out himself and says, my job's safe, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm sorry. His job wasn't safe, and it shouldn't have been safe. And look at him now, gone. And it nearly causing a riot with the Union Bears. All that nonsense. I can't go on. I've said this. The booing the team off the park. It's got to stop. We've got to have a system at the level we need. Running the club.
There's no excuse now. You can't boo the manager and the manager.
No, I'm saying that. No, but they're booing the players off the park. All I'm saying is, yeah, but they need to put something in, some system that's agreeable with the fans and the rest of the world. We are a laughing stock. Rangers at the moment are just a laughing stock. So I agree 100% with Albert. And for me, kept Gerrard didn't get it sorted out, and soon it's above him.
We've been joined by Smurf. Evening, Smurf.
Evening, Ox. I was just primed to come in with my point. I can't remember what it is because all that threw me. No, so essentially, I agree with Albert in one way and another, right? You've got Thelwell and you've got Patrick. Oh, where's he, man? In charge here. Now, Patrick Stewart was, people say he was the CEO or whatever he was at Man U. He was only on an interim basis. He was only holding the steering wheel while somebody lit a fag. He never ever had that job on a full-time basis. He was an administrator in the background, and he shouldn't be running our club. He knows nothing about football. He's not a football man, and he should not be running our club. The other guy, I think, between the two of them, they've contrived to employ a guy that was weak. And it's not a dig at Russell Martin, that. He's no a Rangers man. He doesn't really understand Scottish football. He's PowerPoint presentations out, but he was somebody that was malleable and somebody they could influence and somebody who they could dictate to maybe, and a fall guy. My concern is that they'll be reluctant to bring in anybody of any real gravitas, anybody that's got anything about them, any standing in the game. They'll no let Graham Souness into the building to help make decisions because it's an admission of failure. They're no going to. I don't think they want a Steven Gerrard chess poking them and asking questions and demanding answers for the Americans. They're not going to want somebody like that because they're no fit for purpose. They're weak people. They're in the wrong movie themselves, but it's a lucrative movie and they want to stay there. That's my opinion. That's how I see it. I read on the website today for the chairman and the vice chairman that said that there's more smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of work getting done in the background about hinting at future developments at Ibrox and all that. Equally as important work. And these two balloons are leading on that as well. So that same getting the retaliation in first, that same already defending them, because they know there's a swell of opinion, a groundswell of opinion against them. He's right, Albert's right, they two need to go. Now is not the time. How do we appoint a manager? I don't know. I thought he would go in the Falkirk game, and I don't believe he went because we drew today. I always thought he was going to go at that international break because it was a convenient time, and I alluded to that last week or a week before on here. I don't know, what do you think of that, boys?
Southside.
I think you're allowed to make mistakes, although it's a monumental mistake. They certainly get interviewed enough for them to come up. We don't know, really. We only go by what people sort of printed in the news and what people were saying. We'd interviewed so many managers, and he became the best out of the lot. So they made a mistake. Thelwell saying what he said is up to me. He's one of the best managers he's ever seen work or whatever, worked beside and all this nonsense, right? I don't know why he came out with that in that interview. It's pretty ridiculous to come out with a statement like that. And he's getting held to account. I think the way they worded the statement today, Smurf, saying that the vice chairman and the chairman are going to be actively involved this time, possibly overseeing it and whatever, and they want to make sure they get the right person. It's possibly a dig at they too. I think it would have been one of them to say pull the plug. I don't think Thelwell or Stewart would have they had to go to him and say, right, we're pulling the plug, or we want to pull the plug. What do you think? He might have said, no, now I'm working on stuff in the background, just leave it. We don't know, but they've done it now. Going forward, there's a big question mark on the two of them. I thought when Stewart came in, I thought he might only be in for about a year and a half when I sort of looked at what he'd done. And this is a progression to what he'd done as interim at Man United when he got there for a period of time. But he'd done other roles in the background leading up to that throughout the club. So he's got the role here, but I thought he'd only be here maybe a year and a half, and then they'd probably put somebody else in that they felt would be the right fit for the club. Thelwell's got question marks, but in the whole, depending on how the next manager works with the players that were signed, and if Asgard, Gassman, Ant-Man and that start to play as players that we think they could be and start to show for them, and maybe Shamiti and Majovski start to be able to hit the target because we're creating chances for them to score, then we might have a different opinion on the recruitment. Now it's still questionable in a lot of what we saw for players, but we'll have to judge them now with a clean slate again with a new manager, and hopefully we'll play an attacking style of football, and they'll be allowed to show their strengths and why we bought them and what they're here for. So that's how I'll judge them, and if Thelwell gets more right, if it's him that's been recruiting, then we'll need to say, well, okay, he's done all right, but at the moment there's question marks with a lot of the players. So going forward, that'll be a judgment. But aye, it's a monumental mistake by the two of them and whoever else on that board or committee of the footballing side that made the decision to give him the job. But it's how you react and it's how you go forward. And hopefully, if the next appointment's the right one, then they'll be judged on that going forward. But at the end of the day, we just want Rangers back to being winning, mate, and successful. And we need to hope that this next manager brings that.
Well, we've got a wee poll going on Facebook, just a bit of fun, so don't get carried away. And Bill Roberts come up with the 4 names. It's Gerrard, Lampard, Muscat and Dykes, just to see what people are thinking. We'll get a shout out at the end of the show. But we're in an interesting time, Smurf, and I'll go back to Albert. You know, listen, obviously there could be some internal traffic that we'll never get to see. Between the owners and the CEO, who obviously carries the card for everything, Albert, and Thelwell, who was still with Everton at the time when he was involved in their process. So I remember, if I remember right from memory, it was said that he was given time by Everton and support to get involved in their process. So the traffic will be there, and it might be that it hangs the two of them rather than what we think. You told us this, you told us that, and none of it's happened. And they'll say, well, how can we trust you? And then there's a breakdown there.
Oh, there's a breakdown, but you just triggered something in my mind there when you told us that Thelwell get permission of Everton to get involved in the Rangers job before he was even up the road. Did that cost us £9 million? It might have cost us £9 million, that. You know what I'm saying? We're just being suspicious here.
You're just a bad man. That's all right. Carry on.
It's the fact of the matter. I mean, they're saying there's stuff happening in the background here, and it might be important stuff to stabilise the club that we don't know anything about. Mate. No, not just change the toilet paper and put a couple of bulbs in and things like that. No, I mean maintenance stuff within the ground. There might be truly for business reasons. Things happening in the background. That's fair enough. I mean, you'll get to know that when you get to know that. But the bottom line is, we're no businessmen. We're no looking at, if we can't get a pint in the ground, we're not particularly interested in much progress that comes. It's all on the park for us. We want to see it on the park. A successful Rangers is a winning Rangers, as far as we're concerned, mate. We're not interested in this. You can gaslight all that you want. Tell us all the promises it's going to happen. You're going to get an 80,000 seated stadium. You're going to get this. You're going to get that. Oh, smashing! Oh, I want somebody in the park that can play midfield and a centre forward that can score goals. That's all I'm looking for. And a winger that can cross a ball. Simple, mate. I'm a simple person. I like my football simple, and I like it winning. End of the day, mate. That's it. That's why I pay my money. I support the Rangers. I always support the Rangers, the same as everybody else, and we want it nice and simple. I don't care about style of play. I don't care about attacking football. I want winning football, mate. That's it for me. And if they come up with a solution to get that, I'll be happy. I'll be more than happy.
Robert, then Jim.
Listen, of course, what's been said is 100% correct, mate. There's people who need to be held to account to what's transpired over the past few months, and rightly so. Ox, you asked us a few weeks ago, what's the first move you make? And most of us said we would change the manager first and foremost. Well, that's what we're doing now. We'll see what happens next if there is any movement behind the scenes. It could be, as Southside says, there's stuff going in the background that we're never privy to until further word comes out from the club. But first and foremost, you've got to change your manager, which we're doing. It's about getting the right appointment next. Everything else above that will take care of itself over time. But of course, they've got to be held to account. I mean, Patrick Stewart's not even in the job a year. I think it's a year next month. And already we're on to the fourth manager under his tenure. So that needs to be questioned. I know Clement was there when he came in, and nobody's seen the Alloa result coming. But it's Queen's Park result coming, but the recruitment side of management, getting somebody on short-term basis, and Barry, I covered the time period, but it was never going to be a permanent fixture. Josh mentioned earlier on, maybe Dyche is one for him to come in short-term. I'm not looking for short-term Oaks. This needs to be fixed, and a manager to come in and, instead of the ship, be consistent. Of course, it's results-driven, but we can't just have another short-term manager until the end of the season and then start from square one again. It needs to be somebody in for the foreseeable, work with these group of players, assess the squad, and again, improve our week.
I don't think in terms of where you go, mate, and I'll tell you why. You've got one day coming up, and who's going to sign for somebody who's going to be there for a few weeks? I don't, I get Josh's point, but we've tried that a few times in our history. Maybe it's not the way you go, but Jim, in you come, mate.
Is young Josh still there?
He's still there, mate.
Josh, can I ask you something? See the football guy. How was he perceived in the Blue Hoffer, Merseyside, mate? What was their views on them, and was there similarities that was going on with Rangers and who happened with that guy down there? And also, we do need stability at the club. We laughed at other teams when teams are getting a manager every 6 months, a year, and all the rest of it, man. And where we were always proud on our history, we had only so many managers over a period of umpteen years. We've now fell into that bracket where we're one of these daft clubs who just keep changing manager. But as you said there, Robert, this guy, what's his name for Manchester? Him at Manchester United, this Stewart, is overseen. Did you say there are 4 managers? Is that what you said there?
The next appointment under him would be his 4th one, mate. Aye.
Unbelievable.
Well, William Milton, Bill Struth, Scott Simon, and Davy White. And that was the same time. What's that, mate?
Is young Josh going to answer that? Is he going to answer that question I asked there about Furwell? Have you heard me?
Yeah, so that question's difficult to answer because it's different. It's different clubs, different time frames, and different expectation levels. At Rangers, you have to be top of the league, and that's it, don't you? Like, if you're second, you might as well be last. Whereas at the Everton situation, they had financial problems, points deductions. Sean was brought in for the very reason to stabilise the club and to sort of get them out of the mess that they were in, which had been created mostly by Moshri, the chairman. So, in terms of how well and how he was perceived at Everton, I can't really answer it other than to say that he actually helped to get us out of the mire that we were in. The football wasn't pretty, wasn't brilliant to watch, but he actually served his purpose at Everton Football Club. But like looking at the situation now, you look at Hearts, they're well run, efficient, they've got ambition, they've got a chairman who's been round the block and done it before with the stats-based recruitment, did it at Brighton, did it at Union, Sandro Wars, I think it was, as well. So he has a track record of building something. And the league table doesn't lie at this moment in time. I mean, we had a situation with Aberdeen last year, they weren't able to sustain it. Like this sincere threat to the top 2, but I really do believe, boys, that Hearts have this ambition and they're going to follow through with it. I also wrote Derek McInnes' name down. Now Derek ruled out the Rangers job a few years ago, didn't he? And he isn't someone that probably would be on the list. But hypothetical question, would he leave Hearts to come to Rangers at this moment in time? I don't think so, because the stabilisers are on at Hearts. They've got the journey going. The recruitment's been spot on. The ambitions there, whereas like when you look at Rangers, it's a total mess. And I get what people are saying about you can't keep changing the manager, this, that, the other. And yes, eventually you need to settle on one guy and sort of give him a couple of years and get some consistency. You've got his players and his players only, not like 5 or 6 different iterations of squads trying to be morphed together. So that was my argument behind Sean. Now, who's to say that Sean won't come in and get the results and make himself a name to be put forward full time as well? So there is that option. There's also Graham Potter. Now, he did well at Brighton. He did relatively well at Chelsea, but he was also let down at West Ham with the ownership and this, that, the other. But it's a similar playing style to Russell. So whether he he can take the reins and build on what's there now and sort of refine it a little bit. It doesn't have to be all out attack, but it'd still be nice football to watch. And it'd be, I mean, Rangers need a winning manager. I've also wrote that down while we've been talking as well. I mean, it's all right saying you need this style, you need that style, you need someone to keep you up, you need someone to do this and that. You just need a winning manager. That's what Glasgow Rangers is all about. I mean, at the end of the day, if you can put trophies on the table or get closer to Celtic at the top of that table, that's what every Rangers fan's looking for, regardless of how or why that happens. It's all about the results element, the results metric, the outcome base. It's, you know, like Russell got the job saying we'll play this way and we'll make it exciting for the fans and all this. Well, he made it anything but, didn't he? Because the football was diabolical and the results were equally so. So, you know, they need a little bit of a reality check in terms of moving forward, don't they? In terms of, like, we've got to find the right manager, the right one.
Anyway, we've enjoyed being Dominic. Evening, Dominic.
Good evening, lads. I'm just wondering about the topic. I've missed the whole show, sorry, but I'm just wondering what the topic is tonight. I'm thinking maybe a manager, new manager. Did Josh say Sean there? Sean?
Say that again, mate.
Was that Josh that was talking there?
But Sean
never mentioned that Sean. Oh, all right. So we've got Kev, Paddy, and Sean.
It's
we've
not
had green and
good,
white.
mate.
We've had green and white. Aye. Okay. Listen, I called that clown out months ago, didn't I? I think I was lots of people were saying I called him a clown months and months ago. You know what I mean? So I'm just glad he's away. Like every other Rangers fan, we all seen it. But with the elation of the takeover, then a week later, it was a kick right in the balls, wasn't it? A week later, it just brought us all back down to earth when he got appointed. And everybody could see it. That looking at his statistics, looking at his record, you're going, even if the Yanks were playing a Moneyball system, that doesn't work. The numbers don't crunch the right way. Yet they still backed him. And in questions are still to be asked of Patrick Stewart and Kevin Cashwell, as I call them.
Trouble, mate. They trusted their executive team, mate. That's what it looks like to me, mate.
There's in that statement today, it basically saying that they're going to be fully involved in it. Has gained a wee bit. I think that's gained a wee warning in it.
That's the way I read it. You can read things any way you want, mate.
I know. Aye, you can take anything that you want. What you want to take out, you can interpret that way.
Aye.
But the good news is away. You know what I mean? And they didn't wait till this morning because we were all choking a bit last night, weren't we? Just waiting. Just give the official news that he's gone. And Heart in the Hand then Sky that became official. So aye.
Same question we've asked a lot of people. Who's next then for you?
For me, I've not really thought about it.
All right. If you haven't thought about it,
you sound a bit like Paddy Stewart there, putting me in the spot here. asking questions.
You earn more money than Patrick Stewart.
That's true. Who would I want? Obviously, I wouldn't be part. I would definitely take Gerrard back. A lot of fans are wanting that. He would just give everybody such a lift, wouldn't he? But out with that, I've not really got a candidate, to tell you the truth. As I say,
so it's all right to have a Paddy, a Kevin, and a Sean, but you can have a Gerrard.
That's true. Aye. I wouldn't take McInnes back. Sorry. He's doing all right at Hearts, but we know they're going to fall away. That's a certainty.
Aye. Listen, mate. I don't think you'll be alone in no major mind up, and that seems to be consensus. People are just waiting for the dust to settle. I think we've been joined by our other Josh. How are we doing, Josh?
How we doing, lads? All right?
Aye, good, mate. What's on your mind, mate?
Well, I'm just glad that Russell Martin's eventually away. As I said last night, it had to happen because it was just getting diabolical. And what I said last night was there was no fear factor anymore for these teams like Motherwell, St Mirren, Dundee, Falkirk, Livingston, They just went for their throats because we were an easy ride and an easy team to play. And I'm glad Russell Martin had to go away. Do I agree with the scandalous goings on with blocking the team bus and all that kind of stuff? No, but it had to. I can't control the support and what they do. Who do I want as the next Rangers manager? I just want somebody that is Rangers orientated, that is actually, if they're not affiliated with the club, look up the history and come in and try and do the best job possible. Derek McInnes will not go to Rangers. He already gave us a shown up and lambasted us in Aberdeen TV with Stuart Millen and his time with Aberdeen, and says I'm not interested in the Rangers job because I've got stability here, and Rangers are not stable. I'm not interested, and he'll do the same because he's got Hearts top of the league. You'll be a fool to leave Hearts Football Club with that guy Bloom behind you, and they're doing something actually really well. Steven Gerrard, I would take wee Barry Ferguson back, wee Bazza, back to short time to the end of the season. But I've got a feeling, and I've been
what does
checking
that achieve then, Josh? What does that achieve? That
Barry,
means we've got a wasted transfer window and the structure for the next transfer window.
So, our next manager will be the 13th manager in 14 years.
I know all that, mate. I never asked you that. I can count. I can name them all, mate. Or the interim ones as well. Give you the dates and the days when they started. But what does bringing Barry Ferguson in to do at the end of the season achieve, mate? Just that, that's it.
Will he not bring stability the now because he knows the club and stuff? The now until
how did that pan out results wise a few months ago?
Well, who else can we get then? Because say we get Steven Gerrard in, what everybody's calling for, and he goes in a run like Russell Martin. Will we have this carry on again? Because it's the same players.
You might, mate. But what I'm saying is, what would it achieve bringing an interim manager? And just my thoughts on it, I don't see any. But that early in the season, if it was at the back end and you were waiting for somebody to finish a season, I get it, mate. But this whole season to go, practically, we're still in 4 competitions. I'm asking you a simple question. I'm not being facetious, not being cheeky. What does it achieve bringing Barry Ferguson in as an interim manager? No. You've got a transfer window coming up. How can you give him a budget when he's interim? What professional's going to sign for you, knowing that you're just interim?
Well,
give me an advantage here. I'm just struggling with that, mate.
I'm just thinking out loud. That's all. I'm just trying to do.
Right, okay.
I'm just trying to
I'm
think.
nothing against Barry Ferguson. But if I'm honest,
I've heard the show and people criticising Sean Dyche and all this. It's our support's mentality is non-existent. They don't give managers a chance that they know nothing about. Sean Dyche or nothing. I would rather have boring football and get 3 points and win the league than
I'll go to the man that says that all the time. Southside results over performance, yeah. Then all better.
Well, it's about the results, mate. We've just put ourselves. We've looked at the calibre of managers that we've done. Look, Stevie G is the one because he was successful. He won a league title and the one that mattered. He's got a presence. People would probably want to come and play for him. We were the fittest I've ever seen a Rangers squad in my life, and it helped Gio. The team went to the final because we played extra time in games and all that, and that team were as fit as anything. And Gerrard had them a really fit as a squad. He was a winner, but that's not to say that it would work again. So as much as you got to remember, he got his one trophy in 9 seasons. 3 seasons, you know what I mean? So, but it was the one that mattered. But at the end of the day, I don't know if it'd work. I don't even know if he'd want the job. So, like I say, the support, probably need to get somebody that would probably support, majority support, would think, aye, okay, he sounds as if he's a decent manager or whatever. But the support doesn't get to pick the manager. Because at the end of the day, if a manager comes in that he's really want, as long as he's successful, might not give him the best of starts because people will be on him for the start. But if he's successful when he comes in, that's all that matters as to us as a club. So it is an important time for the club. We need to get this right. So I'd like to hope they've been active in the background for a number of weeks, because it's been well known that he was going to go at some point. So I'd hope that they're working on something. Maybe a preferred candidate isn't available, I don't know. But we should try and make sure, the one thing we need to make sure is that it's certainly the right one. Barry was a good player, mate. He epitomised everything I wanted as a Rangers player, but he wasn't a good manager. Ali McCoist was a wonderful player, but wasn't a good manager.
Southside.
Southside.
Ali McCoist took us up through the leagues, and he's got a 76.4% winning average as a manager. That's how.
Honestly, anybody on this show tonight could have had a winning 76% winning average coming up the leagues, mate.
That's what I said. I'm just saying, for talking sake, Ali McCoist had a very good success rate. I know it was in the lower leagues, but it's still there in black and white. That's all I'm saying.
Albert.
Well, it's winning manager. I don't care who it is. It's just whoever it is needs to be a winning manager. It's just, you need to put just draw a line under that, mate, and leave it at that, because there is no other way of putting it. But as for McInnes, by the way, you need to take control of this situation here. By the way, McInnes will come, he'll no come. If we asked him, he'll no, because that's all by and by. Rangers need to take the control of that, and you need to look at it, the pros and cons. I don't see many pros, but I do see big cons. And the cons I see, why are we going to go and have to pay compensation to Hearts and give them another big budget to go and strengthen a team when they're already sitting at the top of the league? Is it he's mental, mate? What are we talking here? All the old days get stronger, mate, if we go and give them money to get stronger. And then we've got their second their cast-off manager to try and go and win a league. It's nuts, mate. Total nuts. You just go to say, take control of this. McInnes is off the register. Just get rid of that idea right away. No giving Hearts more money, mate. Look what they've done with their 10 million that guy's pumped in already. And they're sitting at the top of the league. Should they be there? It's questionable. They win games, mate, so they should be there, innit? But when they played us, I don't think they should have beat us, by the way. And that's how bad we're playing. I still don't think they should have beat us in that now. But anyway, that's just my opinion on that. But I wouldn't get near them with a Bard's pole, not a Bard's pole. I wouldn't be standing there strengthening Hearts, and that's all you'd be doing, strengthening Hearts. At the end of the day, we need to strengthen Rangers. And take our time, wait, and I don't mean months and months. I mean, take enough time as you need to get the new manager in, but he needs to be a winning manager. And I don't care who it is, mate. I really don't care who it is. Same as Martin. Martin's won the day they won the games. He'd be still staying here the new. Sorry, mate, go for it.
Quick question, Robert. Do you think they've been doing some work in the background for the last few weeks?
I don't think.
Looking at their option.
I don't think Thelwell and Stewart have. I think maybe the chairman and the vice chairman have been. But I don't think they two. I think they've looked at Martin and went, "We're all in. We've got to be all in. We're the people that picked him and brought him in a club. We can't now start working in the background to get rid of him." No, but I think the chairman, the vice chairman, might have been doing work in the background.
Okay, all right. Well, we've reached that time of the evening. Listen, just quickly we'll go around and get everybody's final thoughts, and I mean briefly. Yeah, briefly. So, Billy, cheers, mate.
Aye, no bother, buddy. Thanks for taking my call, Everybody's comments tonight have been bang on, but the Yanks can't take a chance on this. They need to get this one right, big time right, and they need to be clever enough now to see what's went on here with this disaster, because it's costing them money, and surely they'll see what's went wrong, guys. But listen, let's hope we all get what we want. We got a good manager in place and a bit of stability back at the Rangers when we start winning trophies in games of football.
Smurf.
Thelwell,
I'll just
Stewart.
leave you with this. The Yanks will get it right. The chairman's not a mug.
Cheers.
Good night.
No. Cheers, mate. Josh, no Everton. Josh, you're Josh.
Thelwell, Stewart, and his wee boy out and get a decent manager in and bring success back to the club. That's all I want.
Cheers.
Thanks for having us on, Ox. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Jim.
Tuesday, Jim, or me?
Tuesday, Jim.
I just hope there's better times ahead.
You don't know what day of the week it is, so that's stuck up for you.
That's not unusual, mate. That's not unusual. Great show tonight. Great conversations. Mixed bag of views, but we'll get there. We're Rangers.
Here. Josh? Everton, Josh?
Football's all about winning, and Rangers need, in simple terms, a winning manager. So that's what I'm kind of going to leave you on. I think, I'll echo the lads. It's been a great show, range of views. We all want what's best for this football club, and let's hope that it can be delivered as soon as possible. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Come on up.
Kevin Paddy, our last chance saloon, and manager-wise, I'd be quite content with Gerrard and Muscat. Thanks for having me, lads.
Cheers, mate. Robert?
Cheers for having me on, mate. Always good to be on with yourselves. Good crowd in the night. Need to get in the next appointment right, mate. And for me, I'm going to look for 3 R's. Reaction, recovery, and results. Cheers for having me, mate.
The 3 R's. Albert?
No surrender, mate. That's all I say. Just no surrender. We're not going in. We'll be back, and we'll be back bigger and better.
Yeah. Southside.
Good show tonight. A lot of good opinion, mate, and we all want what's best for Rangers. So hopefully they'll get the appointment right. Can I say thanks to all the YouTube punters out there that were on the night and enjoyed the show and were participating, mate. I'd like to thank them. But just make the right appointment and let's get going and let's start winning games of football, mate. That's what we're looking forward to support. And then we can be united behind it, and we'll keep an eye on Thelwell and Stewart as we go forward.
Yeah, the one and only Bridgeman.
Oh, what a night. What a marvellous night. Terrific discussions. And of course, some really, really strong opinions as to what's been going on and what will go on. Obviously, everybody knows how I feel. I'm quite happy. I'll go for Steven Gerrard, and he'll calm things down, set things up, and then it's let's go, Rangers. Let's go.
Also, thanks to everybody who's joined us tonight. Thanks to the technical boys for doing their stuff in the background. Look, as we said yesterday, it lasted 24 hours. We would be off there till a week on Friday till we start building up to the game starting back again. If anything breaks, we'll be back on as soon as possible with a show, and it might be our own fate every night through the game start again. But at the moment, we're after a week on Friday, unless there's any news for the club, which has already happened in the last 24 hours. It's going to be interesting to see how things pan out. Thanks to all the callers, thanks to all the people on the panel, and as I say, the technical staff who sorted us out for this evening. Thanks to everybody for listening. Never ever forget, the other people, and we'll be back soon. Take it away, Old School Pod.